All right, Rowena, we are live now, and you're the host. Can you make me
Okay.
co-host?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Come on in. Hi, Enda. Good to see you. There you are. Now you got your sound.
Yes.
Now I can hear you. How are you
Okay.
doing?
Very, very well. Thank you. In the middle of bad storms, but otherwise good.
Oh, is that right? Whereabouts are you?
Florida, St.
Oh,
Augustine, Florida.
oh, so you're having storms. Okay. It's nice and sunny here today where I am.
Where is that?
I'm in Canada. I'm just sort of north of Seattle by a couple hours in Victoria, BC. Yeah, so I'm on Pacific Coast time, so it's just 8 in the morning for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
11
Yeah,
here.
so I'm 3 hours behind you.
Okay.
Good morning, Ernest. Nice to have you here. And there's Joanne. Good to have you too. Good to see you again. All right. Well, we'll just get ourselves settled here, get everybody into class, and we'll get started. I'll just open my chat box, and I'm going to have this off to the side so that I can hopefully see if you've asked me a question or you've got a comment in the chat. We have Anthony working, helping us out today in support. So if you have any tech issues, you know the drill. If there's any things that you're needing some help with, you can just ask Anthony and send him a message in the chat, and he will try to help you out. So not sure how big this class is. It's early morning for some, so it might be we might have a few less people than I normally have in class. But the good news is for others is that we are live streaming this particular class. A lot of times my classes are live streamed. I don't know if it's necessarily because of me, but I think it's because they're to do with health, and so many people are interested in healthy living. So there's Berna. Nice to have you back. All right. So we're here to learn about natural remedies. As you can see, we got that up on the screen. We are going to be looking at 7 common ailments that I've sort of heard from all of you here and there in other classes of mine saying, what can I do from a natural perspective to help me with this particular problem? So I kind of gathered them up, and I gathered 7 of them and put them in one class. And so that's what today's class is going to be about. So for those of you who have not met me, and there might be 1 or 2 of you that have not actually been in one of my classes, my name is Ravina. I'm one of the guides, and I believe there's about 30 of us now in terms of guides. And we come from all different backgrounds, which is exciting, right? Because that's why you have a variety of classes. We're not all about health and wellness. That's not, what we did for a living. Maybe we're really good with the camera and photography, and I'm dying to take a couple of those classes. And then, or maybe we've been an exercise specialist or a Tai Chi specialist. So as you can see from looking at the schedule, there's so many amazing classes to take. But my love is nutrition and wellness and prevention. I'm all about prevention. I want to prevent my clients, patients from ending up in the hospital, where as a nurse, that's where I used to see people when they were already sick. So I'm taking a few steps before that. And I used to thinking, boy, if I'd only done the education piece with this individual, they may not have gotten as sick as they did. And so then I started on my own mission. I went studied functional nutrition and realized that nutrition is really a really big part of how we are and how well we are. So that's just a tiny bit about me. We do learn from each other. And so every single class that I teach, somebody makes a comment, I ponder the question that they ask, and I do learn from all of you, and we learn from each other. So don't be afraid. My classes are very casual. If you want to ask a question, just stick your hand up like this, or use the reactions button that you find down below on your screen or on the side. And you can put your hand up electronically, or you can you just put your hand up like this, or just put a note put your question in the chat if you're able to type. If your computer or whatever you're on is easy to type, you can put your question there, and either Anthony will alert me or I'll see the question. As I mentioned, we are live streaming today, but we are also recording. So if you would like a copy of this recording, you are welcome to ask for that at the end of class. And hi to all of you out there in live stream world. If you do like what you hear and you are interested, please register for a class in future, because then you can interact better with us. You can see what's going on in the chat, which is sometimes very interesting. And you can also get the post email with the notes that I provide to the learners that are in class. And then last, we don't get paid for anything I might promote, whether it's a service or a product. I just like to share something that I use that I find is a good thing. So let's look at the objectives for today. We're going to understand the healing power of plants, herbs, spices, and food. So we're going to do a tiny little history lesson, not a lot. I'm not a history buff by any means, but we're just going to talk a tiny bit about historically where this has come from. And then we're going to talk about these 7 natural remedies, or around 7 natural remedies for 7 of these common ailments that you guys have told me about. So let's just start by, and I do like to have interaction with each other, so feel free to take yourself off the mute and answer. How many of you have used a plant or an herb or a spice or even a food to heal your body in some way or heal a symptom? And just think about it for a second. Yeah, like I know I have. My mom used to, my grandmother used to, so I learned things from them. Yeah, so a few of you have, or you've thought about it, just thinking like, is there something else I can be doing with, say, the medication I'm taking, for example? Yeah, so Linda has actually used turmeric for arthritis. That's awesome, Linda. That's really, really good. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if you took a class with me on arthritis yet, but I do talk about that in the arthritis class. So turmeric,
I did
yeah.
take class.
Okay, turmeric is very, very, very powerful. It's a beautiful, beautiful herb. Aloe vera, great. That's awesome, Verna. That's another one that's great. And that's what reminds me of my grandmother. She always had a little aloe vera plant in her little apartment. And as kids, we'd go over and we'd go and pick a little piece and play around with the gel. And, if we cut ourselves or burnt ourselves or anything like that, then we used the aloe vera. All right.
I have a question, but wasn't some medicine made from plants and herbs?
I believe so. Now, I'm not an expert in all that, but definitely as a society, we have learned about certain ingredients, certain compounds in plants, and from that have created certain things. But for the most part, to be honest, for the most part, our medications are made manufactured from
Something, right? Because
yeah.
I've become a vegetarian in the last 4 years, and my grandparents were sharecroppers on a farm, so from that aspect, but I'm trying to cleanse my body with herbs.
Yes, that's awesome. That's great. So you're going to learn a lot. Hopefully you'll learn a lot today. And it takes a little while. And I say it's about a 4-month mark. So we're going to get into it in the second ailment I talk about. I'll talk about around 4 months, because it takes about that time for either a deficiency to really show up in our bodies, or if you're doing some good things, don't expect overnight your skin's going to be shiny and bright. It takes about that amount of time, about 4 months. So let's go through. So looking at the healing power of plants, Yeah, and Cindy, yes, verbena water, lemon verbena water. That's great. I'm actually right now drinking warm water with lemon in it as well. Like I'm drinking lemon, and I do this every day. It's a really good, slow, like simple detox, easy, cheap detox instead of buying those little kits. So natural remedies have been around for thousands of years, not hundreds of years, but thousands of years. So in our ancient history, if we look at places like China, India, Greece, and Egypt, to name a few, they have been using medicinal plants. That's what they use. They didn't have like pills. They couldn't go to the pharmacy and grab pills for something. So if they had a really bad ailment, they used medicinal plants. So also looking at our indigenous people, whether it's in Canada or in the United States or elsewhere in Australia, we have our indigenous people who really rely on plants for healing. Even today, they rely on plants. Now, you know, we as a society have our Western medicine. So our number one go-to usually is to go see the doctor and say, hey, I got this rash on my arm. I don't know what it is, you know, and we kind of go from there, and they might prescribe some kind of medicated cream or something like that. So this is just a little bit to understand that natural remedies have been around for thousands of years. So since the beginning, as humans, we have been experimenting with plants. So we've been doing the experimentation, mixing things together, trying things out. So in a way, it's been like 1,000 years of a vast clinical trial with medicinal plants. Because if we weren't sure about something, we would try it. And you know, you see on TV sometimes like the head elder or somebody in a certain tribe who is the medicine man, or the person that does the plants. They learn from experience and working with the different plants and testing them out. So unfortunately, some people may have you know, been on the end of, you know, a not a very good experiment if something didn't work. You know, sometimes we know plants can be poisonous as well, but it's possible that as humans, we looked to observing our animals in our midst to see what they were doing in regards to plants. So that the term of that is called zoopharmacognosy, which is the behavior of animals all around us today that will select certain plants to self-medicate themselves. So, you know, here's a cute, you know, picture of an animal, you know, chomping on something. Now, I don't know if this is just random or if they are needing it for something specific. And you'll understand what I mean on this next slide. So for example, if you have a cat or you have a dog, we know that when their stomach is not feeling good, something's not right. They might have, I don't know, maybe they ate the kid's toy or they did something, so they're not feeling good in their stomach. What do? They look for grass. And so they can eat the grass so that they can vomit. And if any of you have animals, I'm sure your animal has done this at some point. Cats and dogs. Now, I'm a cat person, so I know cats definitely do this because my little cat Jessie used to do this, and Ginger. And I believe dogs do this as well. Chimpanzees, they will look for specifically for the Aspilia plant and chomp on those leaves because those leaves would help them against parasites. So if they were feeling like they had parasites in their body. So interesting that our animals have been doing this for years and years. So in today's society, we still do this. We still use plants to a certain extent, or natural medicine to a certain extent, as a way of healing. And have any of you seen any of those doctors? And or can you think of the name of a doctor, a type of doctor that you would see that would use herbs or medicinal stuff? Anybody have any ideas?
A herbalist?
Yes.
No?
Yeah, herbalist, absolutely. There are people that call themselves herbalists. They could be certified herbalists. They could be self-taught herbalists. Yeah, I don't know what the certification is for that. But here's the list. We've got naturopaths. A lot of them will use natural things. What about traditional medicine, Chinese medicine, TCM? We call it TCM. We have, where I live, there's a couple of TCM doctors, and we actually have a school called Pacific Rim here in Victoria, where I live, that teaches trains people in TCM. It's like a 5-year program. It is not like a simple thing. It's like becoming a doctor, but using from this aspect of traditional Chinese medicine. Then there's the Ayurvedic doctors. They Ayurvedics come from India, and that's another way of looking at the body as a whole and looking at imbalances and balances and trying to balance the body. Herbal, as we talked about, so we have the herbal medicine doctors or herbalists. And then this one I found really, really interesting, the Aboriginal medicine or bush medicine. So we see this in Australia and other places, and they really look at the person as a whole, not just the physical plane, but they look at the emotional, they look at the social and the spiritual part of this of the person, which I find absolutely fascinating that they can do that and use the plants to heal somebody. To me, this seems like, wow, this is cool. Like this is on all different levels of healing somebody. Instead of just saying, here, take this plant or take this pill, they're not only just looking at the physical symptom in somebody, but like what's the emotion behind that symptom and what is the spiritual thing behind that. So, you know, if you believe in past lives and things like that, I'm sure there's a little bit of that comes into it. So we now know, I mean, there are thousands of healing plants and herbs and spices and foods out there. But for the purposes of today, we are going to look at the 7 ailments that I've chosen, and we are going to look at then about 7 things. Now, I give you more than one natural remedy for each ailment, as you'll see as we go along. So let's get started so we don't run out of get short on time in case there's some questions. Yes, your dog. Yeah, I do believe that most people's animals they're just so good, right? Like when we're not feeling good, I mean, it's not a good thing to start just to throw up when we're not feeling good, but when we're not feeling good because we ate too much or whatever, there's other remedies that we can do to support ourselves to feel better than to just go and throw up, right? But I mean, our animals do this, which is, I find, I don't know, good for them. They get out whatever is bugging them. All right, let's look at the first ailment. The first ailment is high blood sugar. Now, you might be diabetic, you might not be diabetic, you might be pre-diabetic, and 1 in 3 pre-diabetics don't even know that they're diabetic, that they're on that way. So even if you are somebody concerned with the amount of sugar maybe that you are ingesting, and that you're thinking that you've got like sugar sitting there in your bloodstream too much, and we know that's damaging, right? So if we are eating too much sugar and our system, our insulin, our pancreas can't get that sugar out fast enough out of our blood, that can cause some permanent damage. So it's very important to have good sugar control, blood sugar control. Very, very important, whether you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, or you're just a little bit worried because your diet hasn't been the best. So the number one thing that we can do if we were worried about this is use cinnamon. Now, we don't even realize how powerful cinnamon is. I used to just think of it as a little treat. You put a little bit maybe in your coffee, you put it in your baking. I use it for, if you've taken my 7 Healings food course, I use cinnamon when I do my baked apples, like my applesauce. It's a very fragrant spice. It comes from the bark of the Ceylon tree. It's very, very versatile. A lot of us have only thought of using cinnamon when we're doing something like baking, because it kind of feels like it has a taste of sweetness, although there is no sweetness to it. Like there is no sugar in it. It's just, it tastes sweet, or we relate it to something sweet. But studies have proven that cinnamon alone can help to lower your fasting blood glucose levels. So for any of you that know what I mean, if you are diabetic, that's amazing. Like you're not taking a medication like glucagon to do it. This can actually help it. It can also improve our insulin sensitivity. And just so that you're clear on it, you want to have good insulin sensitivity, because if you get too tolerant to it, your pancreas can't pump out enough insulin to take care of that donut you ate, to get rid of that sugar in your bloodstream. Do you know what I mean? Your body has sort of become so tolerant to the insulin that you're insulin resistant. And we don't want to be resistant. We want to be sensitive. So cinnamon can help improve your sensitivity. It also has been known to take out fats from your blood. So There is a lot of good stuff to say with cinnamon. Now, it's a good thing most of us like cinnamon. I haven't met anybody who's allergic to cinnamon or doesn't like it. It's just, it's that nice sweet smell. You know, they say if you're going to sell your home, you know, put that boiling water on the, and with a couple cinnamon sticks or some cinnamon and water to get that beautiful smell, because it's a comfort smell for most of us. How can we use it then? Well, as the picture shows, it's great with apples. It's great in your oatmeal or porridge. But here's the thing, you can also add it to soups and stews. And I had a lady who's actually comes to a lot of my classes. She is from Greek background, and she mentioned to me that a lot of the casserole, not casserole, but some of the old Greek dishes, the ladies would put cinnamon in them, and they were savory dishes, not sweet. So play around with your cinnamon. Make sure when you buy it, check the label to make sure it is just cinnamon and it's not sugar mixed in, because you know you can buy cinnamon with sugar in. You don't want that. Just plain cinnamon, and cinnamon is not created equally everywhere. There's like I don't want to say a faker kind of cinnamon, but there is a lesser one. You want it from the Ceylon bark. So read your labels. There's a brand that I have in my kitchen. I think it's just called Organics, and it's a really, really nice cinnamon. And if you get to travel again soon, there are some places to get some amazing cinnamon around the world. All right, so that's the easy one to kind of get started with, because I think cinnamon's the easiest thing. Keep the shaker on the table and sprinkle it in your soup or your whatever you're eating, if you want to see it and see how it's going to work. All right, the next one, this one's an important one, where I mentioned the 4 months, around 4 months. Hair thinning is not a fun thing for any of us. Like, nobody wants their hair to be thinning or falling out. Now, I'm kind of referring to more the mild to moderate, like more of hair loss. I'm not talking about the typical moderate to like severe kind of hair loss you might have, like the male pattern baldness that can happen. Both my brothers, well, my one brother for sure get affected by it, because it falls on the mother's side. Like from my grandfather, it skips a generation, and so he's got quite thinning hair. Now he's lost his hair up here, but he's growing his hair in the back, and let me just say to you, it doesn't look good. like this is my younger brother. He looks like he's not against anybody who's 80, because my father's in his 80s, but I'm like, Ken, you're looking like I haven't said it to his face yet, but it's like his hair is about this long, but it's just in the back, and it's like almost white. And so I guess he's holding on to whatever he has. But so what I'm referring to is more the hair thinning, where, you know, you're in the shower and you're going, boy, I'm noticing quite a bit of hair coming out lately in the drain. So why is this happening? Thinning hair is usually because of lifestyle habits, genetics, or both. So let's address the lifestyle stuff. What could be going on? First of all, we do lose 50 to 100 hairs typically in a day, which seems like a lot, doesn't it? But yes, that's natural to shed 50 to 100 hairs. So if you're noticing your hair, you're brushing your hair and it's like, oh, the counter is full of hair in the bathroom, we typically will lose hair. But you will notice when things sort of elevate a little bit and you're just like, or escalate, and you're like, okay, what's going on? Maybe you're using chemical, like your products you're using that you purchased is not good for your hair. Maybe you're wearing your hair back too tight. Sometimes when we pull on our hair too tight, that can be a big main one. Is you're low in iron or low in other minerals such as zinc. Okay. The other thing is that you could have you could be in chronic stress and not even know it. Some of us, like when I was in my last job, I was in chronic stress, and it became the norm that I didn't even realize how stressed I was. And you could also have a underlying medical condition. Now, menopause isn't considered a medical condition. It's just a time of life, unfortunately, for us women. But menopause can cause changes with our hair. But an underlying medical condition like a thyroid condition can cause some kind of hair thinning. So let's look at the best cures. The best cures for hair thinning is to get rid of whatever is stressing us out. Easier said than done. 4 months. Think of that 4-month mark. Now, I will share a little story. My hair specialist stylist that I haven't seen in over a year, because guess what? I've been cutting my own hair because we stopped being able to go, and then I just got used to just doing it myself. I need to go back to the hair salon, don't you think? I mean, my hair's curly, so it's, I don't know, it's not like a straight cut where I've missed the hairs or whatever. But she would tell me that if she had a pregnant client, that she would know that the moment the baby was born, in about 4 months, then the mother's hair would start to really show a difference. 4 months, because it was 4 months of ongoing stress. Not saying that babies are bad, but 4 months of no sleep, new, especially if it was a first baby, like new stuff going on. And so many of you who have had babies, I haven't myself, but if you've had children, you might think about, boy, yeah, there were some changes in my body. Like, did anybody's feet grow? Like, your foot can grow. And also as we age too, because our feet get flatter. So we might be one whole size bigger than we were like 10 years ago for shoes. So just keep that in mind as well. It's the way our foot relaxes and flattens, and so our foot is bigger. So let's look at what we can do for hair thinning. I really want you to concentrate on vitamins and minerals. Okay, vitamins and minerals. The main ones are checking your iron levels and your zinc levels. Those are the two big ones for hair. Iron and zinc. Then we also have in our vitamins, vitamin B7, which is also called biotin. Have you ever seen hair products that say, oh, full of biotin, strong for hair and all that? That's great, but read your ingredients. Is there actually any biotin in there, or is it like the last ingredient? You don't get swayed by master marketing. I would rather you get your iron levels checked and your zinc levels checked, and I will give you a few foods that you can start eating then to put some expensive shampoo in your hair that's doing nothing. What you ingest eventually will build the beautiful locks of hair or whatever it is that you're yearning for. So biotin B7 is found in nuts. It's found in lentils. It's found in liver. Now, some of us maybe don't eat liver, but at least the nuts and lentils. Also, you've heard me talk about this in many of my other classes, omega-3 fatty acids. That is a fat. We do not manufacture it. We cannot manufacture it in our bodies like we can make vitamin D and some of these other things that we can do. We can't manufacture omega-3 fatty acids. You have to get it in your food. So who's been paying attention in all my other classes? Where are we getting our omega-3s from? Or where do you get your omega-3s from?
They come from fish, no?
Yes, in our fatty fish. Some fish doesn't have a lot of omega-3s, but the good ones are cans of sardines. We eat our sardines. If you grew up eating sardines, then it's not a gross thing, and you think, yeah, I can eat sardines with a bit of rice and chopping some onion in there. If you didn't grow up eating sardines, it kind of is a bit weird. You think, you open a can and you look at these little tiny fish in there and go, no, thank you. My parents grew up on the islands in Fiji, so we ate a lot of fish. Like, that was a thing. We'd make fish curry. I grew up eating fish, and so I actually like sardines. Salmon's another oily fish. That's like my top one, I would say, because first of all, it tastes amazing. And if you are not sure about how to cook salmon, come to my 7 Healings food class, which is today, actually, later on today, because you're going to get a really nice recipe for how to make salmon and to make it taste good, that anybody will eat it. What else? What if you don't like fish? Like, there's other oily fish, like I don't have on the list here, but mackerel and herring, those are oily fish. Those all have high omega-3. But what if you're a vegan? Or what if you're just not a big fan of fish, even though I'm telling you to eat fish? Flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and then some of our nuts. A lot of our nuts, like walnuts, have a lot of omega-3s in them. I can't stress enough about omega-3s. Like, our body processes inside need omega-3s. Like, our brain needs it. And if you're noticing your hair is kind of limp and you're having some troubles, number one, get rid of the chronic stress. Number two, you want to look at these levels in your body. Has anybody got any stories they want to say about their hair? Anything that you noticed for yourself? I went through it like when I was like perimenopause and doubled on with the stress of my job. I was losing my hair, and not only was my husband was too. Now my husband's younger than me, and he's got this thick, long hair. One day I'll show you a picture of him. He's got like hair as long as me, and his hair is thick. Like I can't even cut his hair. Like I've tried to trim it twice during COVID, and I have to do it in 4 lots because it's so thick. But he was losing his hair at the same time I was losing my hair. So what does that tell you? Is it in the water? Maybe, but it was because we were both stressed in our life, and we had stress around us. So here's a guy, you know, like he had no stress in his job, but he was stressed because I was stressed. So I can't stress enough that you need to take care of whatever it is bothering you, whether it's finances, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, you need to remove it from your life. All right, let's move on to the next one, which kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with stress, but anxiety. Many of you asked me about this because, you know, we live in a world that's a little bit uncertain. Yes, does the texture change as well? Yes, somebody is asking about the texture. It does. With menopause, you will notice that your hair texture changes. And as the gray hairs come in, one good thing about gray hair, let's call them platinum. So, you know, it sounds a little bit nicer, platinum. The platinum hairs are thicker, right? That's what my hairdresser used to say. She goes, is platinum. It looks fabulous. So when you've got dark hair like me, like my hair is it's not black. My hair is kind of like a dark brown. When the grays come in, you know how they kind of poke out because they're stronger, right? They've got a different texture. Gray hairs can be more just thicker. So anyways, yeah, so let's just look at anxiety now. When we look at anxiety, let me just check here. We have reasons to be anxious, right? All of us, all humans, I believe, have we've been affected by the world and what's been going on in the world. I know last year, it seems like so long ago, but last year when we were first, like, it was like reading news about 9/11, wasn't it? Like getting little notices going, what does this mean? What's going on? What's happening in our world? I was freaked out. Like I'm an emotional, sensitive person. I was freaked out. I mean, not only did we cancel our Japan trip, which was like the least of my worries, I was like scared to leave my house. Like I, you know, when everything was going on with COVID in the beginning. And I mean, yes, we know more now, but we still are in kind of uncertainty. We don't know is like a part of the world going to go through a 3rd wave or a 4th wave. Like people are getting vaccinated. Anyways, I won't get into all that because that's another whole kettle of a fish, but we have had some anxiety in our lives. And what if you already suffered with anxiety in general? I want to say to anybody who has this, do not be ashamed that you have anxiety. It's just like having like a broken foot or something like that. But because it's a mental illness, we don't even like to call it a mental illness. We just say, yeah, I'm not feeling that great. I'm a little bit stressed. Sounds easier than saying I'm having anxiety. Now, for some with anxiety, it can lead into panic attacks. So that's like a panic disorder coupled with the anxiety. So let's not get too much into it. But what I would like to say is please get it checked by a doctor if you are feeling this way and you haven't told anybody. Like maybe you're even hiding it from your kids that you're feeling a little anxious and worried all the time. Do you go to bed worried? Do you wake up worried? That was me. I used to go to bed worried. I'd wake up worried. The same thoughts in the morning would be on my mind the same things I had when I was going to sleep at night, thinking, I don't know, I was thinking all sorts of things with the way the world was. So there's many things we can do to help ourselves with anxiety. Number one, go see your doctor. But these are some things you can do. Just staying active. You know, if you are anxious to being around people, we go out for a walk at 6:30 in the morning, my husband and I. It's quiet out there. There's only birds and squirrels and deer. We have deer here in Victoria. They're so cute. They come around and they're not scared of us anymore. I see nature in the morning. So be active, get out in nature. if you drink alcohol, try to reduce that and try to either eliminate it, because that can add to your anxiety. It actually can. I'm not saying you have to stop drinking forever unless that's your choice, but I'm just saying for right now, if you're having anxiety, I want you to ditch the alcohol and try and ditch the caffeine as well. Have you had that in the mornings where you're feeling a bit anxious and you go for your coffee and now you're jittery and anxious? Mixed together is not a good thing. What else can we do? We could practice deep breathing. Does anybody do the deep breathing? Anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. So
Mhm.
I'm going to teach you something really.
Yeah, I do it.
Yeah, I'm going to teach you something really interesting with the deep breathing. Most of us do what they call, I learned this in my nutrition program I'm doing, predator breathing. Do you know what predator breathing is?
No.
It's a way to remember it. It's like that shallow breathing. We're breathing up here, right? And it's like this. You can't hear it. So in the wild, the animals, that's what they do. They predator breathe because they see a lion in the distance, and they have to be still and as quiet as possible. So they shallow breathe. There's no movement. There's nothing happening. Nobody can hear them. That predator out there, it doesn't hear them. And then, okay, the lion runs the other direction, is gone now. So then what do? We take a big sigh. And then you can breathe deeply again. You can feel the diaphragm moving. Deep breathing is so important. When we predator breathe, which is like that, like shallow breath, we're telling our bodies that we are in danger, that there's something going on. So our adrenaline gets going. We are in we're in stress mode. We go into sympathetic nervous system versus parasympathetic. So when we relax and we do a few deep breaths, we are telling our body that it's safe. I am safe. I am safe now to sit and enjoy my meal. Did you know that if you don't get yourself into parasympathetic mode and you're eating your lunch, if you stay in sympathetic, you won't digest your food. Your food just sits there like a lump in your stomach. So before you eat, even if you're feeling anxious in the morning, I want you to take a couple deep breaths and then go and eat your meal. Very, very important. That's just a little side tip to give you from my nutrition background.
Excuse me, what did you say? Parasympathetic?
Yeah, so there's the two, maybe Anthony can put it in the chat. Like it gets a little bit confusing, but it's the sympathetic nervous system. We have two in our bodies, and then the P-A-R-A, parasympathetic. Okay. Parasympathetic is the calming, what we get into when we do our deep breathing. You can trick your body. Say you're stressed and anxious and something's bothering you, and you just close your eyes, do a couple rotations of like the deep breathing. You can shift yourself into parasympathetic, kind of trick your body into thinking that you're relaxed and you're not anxious anymore. Then your body systems start to run better. All right. Improving quality of sleep. If we're not sleeping very well, do you know even with bad sleep, you can wake up in the morning anxious? You're all irritable and anxious. You didn't get a good night's sleep. The garbage truck came too early, woke you up at 4 a.m, which happens in my neighborhood. Those guys are not supposed to start creaking their tires and squealing and all that stuff till 7 a.m. in my neighborhood, but sometimes they're here early. Okay, what else? Meditation. Meditation does not have to mean you're going to sit on the mountain for a 30-minute session like some of the gurus and the monks, right? That's not what I'm saying. You can get apps on your phone, like Calm is an app, like the word calm is a great app, and it will help you to with a 2-minute meditation, a 1-minute meditation. Meditation is, there's no quantity, it's the quality that you do. So meditation can help. Improving your diet. Trying some aromatherapy is a great way. The last two are really interesting. Spending time with animals. Animals are very therapeutic to help bring our anxiety down. And these weighted blankets, which is sort of a newer thing. So let's look at the actual natural remedy for anxiety. The clear winner is lavender. Even looking at a lavender field with this beautiful purple is calming in itself. So lavender, there's passion flower is another herb, another flower, and chamomile. We've all heard about chamomile. It's in the sleepy teas. It is a very good calming effect type of plant as well. So all of these, you can pick lavender and put it in your pillowcase, put it in a little pouch, put it in your underwear drawer. I mean, lavender is just a very calming plant, and you can find it just about anywhere. You can grow it on your balcony or in your back garden as well. All right, let's move on to the fourth one. So edema. So everybody know what edema is. Edema is swelling. When we have swelling, we have water retention in our bodies. Typically that's in our ankles and our feet, because we're on our feet a lot. Sometimes you'll see it in your hands, in your knuckles. You feel you got swelling in your hands. You might get swelling in your neck, or in your swelling of your stomach as well. Why does this happen? One of the common reasons, it could be from medications that you're taking. That can be a common one. Don't just put up with it. Go and talk to your doctor. Find out if you can maybe try a different medication or a different dosage of that medication. It also could be that you have a job or a volunteer job where you're standing on your feet a lot. The change in weather makes a difference. When it starts to get warmer, we notice the swelling, especially in our feet. Or you've got shoes that aren't fitting very well. Our diet and our sedentary lifestyle can all add to swelling in our feet. All right, so what can we do about it? Well, here's the thing. Most of the time, edema will resolve on its own. But if you want to take care of it like right away, chances are you're dehydrated. Sounds weird, doesn't it? But chances are you are dehydrated. Your body is screaming for fluid. It's needing water. And so what is it doing? It's hoarding the water that's in your body already. Instead of releasing it like it should, it's hoarding it because you're not giving it enough water. So the best thing you can do for edema is to start sipping water and get yourself up to 8 to 10 glasses of water for at least a couple days to get yourself back into hydration mode. And then your body will start to release it on its own. That is the most natural way to get rid of the swelling in your ankles. The other thing is you could use compression socks if this is a common problem that you have, wearing those compression socks. A cool, simple bath for your feet. Put your feet in cool water with Epsom salt, and I'll explain to you why that is really, really effective. And also, if you're sitting, to put your feet up and get it up on a couple pillows so it's a little bit above your heart. So that will also help get rid of some of the fluid in your feet. Now, there's other reasons, medical reasons, that you could have swelling. Now, I mean, I won't get into it because it just brings me back to sad, sad times when my mom was dying of cancer. There was times when she had such bad edema because her body was slowing down and dying basically, and she was having so much swelling in her feet, and it was uncomfortable. So, you know, going and doing a hard massage is not what you need to do, but there are some things that you can do. So what's happening? This is a main thing. If you have swelling and it's common, you might be low in magnesium. Magnesium. So remember I mentioned soaking your feet in Epsom salt bath?
That's magnesium.
That's magnesium. And so again, our skin, remember, is the largest organ in our body. If you soak in something, it will come into your body. So Epsom salts is actually a great thing to do. I mean, you could have a bath in Epsom salts, or just, you know, put your feet in the water. What are foods high in magnesium? Almonds, tofu, cashews, spinach, and broccoli, avocado. There's lots of really good nutrient dense foods that are high in magnesium. Yes, you could take a magnesium supplement as well. You know, speak to your doctor about that, but you can also get it in your food. So if on occasion you get the swelling feet, which is me, that's me. If I take a plane ride, one of my feet, it's always one of them. It's not both of them, but one of them is like, I can't see my ankle bone. It's like, what is going on? It was from being on the plane, and guess what I'm doing? Not drinking water, because I didn't want to have to get up to pee. So I'm stopped drinking water. I'm on the plane. My feet are hanging down for 8 hours. So all that together can add to it. All right, let's keep moving along so we don't run out of time. High blood pressure. This is something that I'm sure a lot of us want to know about. When you have sustained high blood pressure, that is dangerous. Even though you don't think it's doing anything, it's damaging your heart. So if you have a blood pressure cuff, like this little thing here, they're actually not that hard to use. You don't have to have a nursing degree to use it. My mom passed away a while back, and we just went to visit my father on the weekend, and I noticed in the drawer he still has the blood pressure cuff. Now, I'm not sure if he's actually used it. My mom used to use it. She had diabetes, and she used to like to check her blood pressure. Please get your blood pressure checked, because elevated high blood pressure for too long, damages your heart, causes other problems. So the first thing is go see your doctor, get it into the norm. But what other things can you do to help your blood pressure? Movement every day, get your body moving, can help to bring down your blood pressure as you kind of get your weight under better management. Salt is very important for our diet, so don't forget salt is important. But in the short term, when you're trying to get your blood pressure back into the norm, you might need to adjust what salt you're taking into your body, because that can make a huge difference right away. Managing your stress, cutting back on caffeine and cutting back on alcohol, because guess what? Caffeine and alcohol, both of those two things, increase your heart, your blood pressure, unfortunately. So I don't want anyone to feel bad if they have high blood pressure and feel like it's at your fault, because it can be hereditary. You can be of perfect weight, you can eat the perfect diet, you can exercise every day and still have high blood pressure, because it's a hereditary genetic thing that you have. So don't beat yourself up. I had a friend that had this, and she always felt like a failure because her blood pressure was high. And she just sort of related it to being in bad health. And it's like, no, you are in great health. You have a hereditary high blood pressure problem. So what's something from a natural remedy with high blood pressure? You might be low in potassium. Low in potassium. So you see, if you look at the science of it, if you stop eating salt, because potassium and salt, right, they go kind of like this. So if you cut out your salt, then the potassium feels a little bit happier, and therefore you're in a bit better balance when you cut that salt out. But what if you're just eating a good amount of salt, but you're just really low in potassium? Your green leafy vegetables, your bananas, your apricots, your nuts, your beans, all of those are rich in potassium. So look for those foods. Now, one that you might be excited about if you are a chocolate lover, dark chocolate, 70% or higher. When you read the chocolate bar, it will say right on it if it's 70, 80, whatever it is rich in flavonoids. And what that does is relaxes our blood vessels. So our blood vessels are taut and they get relaxed. And that in itself naturally lowers our blood pressure. So, when you're feeling a bit anxious and, tight, and your heart's like, your blood pressure's high, you go and relax somewhere and have a nice couple little bites of dark chocolate, that can help to relax your blood vessels. So that's a little freebie in there for you, instead of just all the nuts and seeds and fish that I'm making you eat. But yeah, I'm not talking about adding sugar to your diet, because sugar is like, cancer loves sugar. All the bad things love sugar. So check your chocolate. I'm not talking about the, Halloween candy you buy that's like got all the crap and the sugar in it. I'm talking about like a nice bar, a beautiful dark chocolate bar. All right, we have two more left. We've got enough time here. So this one, number 6, is psoriasis. And psoriasis is basically a skin condition. We get those red patchy things on our body. We want to cover them up with pants. It's summertime and we'd love to be in shorts, but we can't, because we don't want to show off our ugly legs because we've got this patch on us. Psoriasis can come around because of stress. Stress can trigger our psoriasis. So if you've got the psoriasis, gene in you, it's not really a gene, but if you've got you're prone to it because you've had it before, stress is your killer. You got to get rid of the stress. So things like meditation, yoga, deep breathing, all those things to bring your stress levels down can help to eliminate the psoriasis condition. But there's a couple things you can do. a humidifier, like what we used to put in our baby's room to have moisture in the air so they could breathe better. When, you know, a baby doesn't know how to cough yet, they don't know how to like clear their throat. Like as adults, we know how to clear our throat in the shower or when we're out walking. So a humidifier is a great way. Hey, we talked about this earlier. Aloe vera it's not surprising, but aloe vera, putting that on the patchy psoriasis on your skin can really, really, really help the psoriasis. But not even not even more important for psoriasis is there is that thing again, omega-3 fatty acids, because that omega-3 in the fish and the seeds that we mentioned and the nuts brings down inflammation, so the redness might go away, and it gives you good quality skin. Like I've noticed such a difference in my skin because we eat salmon once a week now. Like once a week we're eating salmon. Like this is my face. I'm 56 this year. My skin, I have nothing on it. Like I literally had a shower because it was 8 in the morning when I started and came to do my to do this. So my skin, because I talk to you guys about omega-3s every day when I'm teaching. So it's on my brain. It's in my brain. So I'm making sure I'm getting my flax seeds, my chia seed puddings I make. That's really delicious. Omega-3s. All right. The last one, and when I did this class, I hadn't created my optimal eye health class yet. But after doing this class, I realized that there was so much I wanted to say about good eye health that I created a full class on eye health, which I am teaching tomorrow. Tomorrow is the eye health class. Great class, good information. The number one thing you can do for your eyes is to get them checked regularly. Like go for your once a year checkup, or if you're still in the once every 2 years, get your eyes checked. If you have diabetes, they probably would like you to get your eyes checked more often, and you'll see why. I want you to consider trying to keep yourself in the best shape possible. Do movement every day. Take one of our movement classes, a yoga or Tai Chi or stretching even at Get Set Up. We've got lots of great exercise classes. With type 2 diabetes, there is a condition called diabetic retinopathy. Does not sound good to have, does it? Diabetic retinopathy, and it affects the little blood vessels behind the retina of your eyes from your diabetes. So you end up with decreased vision. Like you can't see very good at night. You can't see if the lighting is not good. Like you feel like you're kind of going blind. Your eyes are not functioning how you would like them to. The number one thing we can do is protect our eyes. Like wear protective eyewear, wear sunglasses when you're outside. Don't get your eyes damaged by the sun. Get your checkups done. But these are the key remedies for eye health. The vitamins and minerals, we probably remember this from commercials and stuff, are vitamin A, C, and E. So all those orangey and red vegetables and fruits, strawberries, peppers, tomatoes, carrots, those are all great. We always hear, eat your carrots for your eyes. Did you ever have that when you were a kid? Your mom told you to eat carrots? Yeah. All right, my screen just froze on me there. Can you guys still hear me okay? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, oh, there, I'm back. So, and then there's the carotenoids, which is kind of a fancy name, but the luteins and the zeaxanthins, those things are found in the green vegetables, the broccoli, zucchini, and in eggs, all really fantastic for eye health. Very, very good for eye health. I always say to people, whatever I'm teaching, whether it's the brain, the eyes, our heart, eating the rainbow, just eating the rainbow is a great way to know you're getting enough nutrients in your body. It's a really, really great way. Yeah, thanks, Anthony. No problem if you've got to leave. Yeah, so I think that there's probably a handful of foods that I talk about in just about every one of my classes, whether it's for brain health, eye health, heart health, general health. All of my classes, I always seem to talk about omega-3s for sure. All right, so those are the 7 ailments that we just went through. hopefully, I mean, we did a very, very small sort of history lesson, but we can see now that medicinal plants have been around forever, and we have been studying them and testing with them forever. And today we went through those common ailments. Now there's obviously other ailments that that maybe some of us have had or have or would like to know about. When you fill out the at the end, when you fill out the feedback form, you can put a little note there to say what you would like to have. Like maybe I do a natural remedies, a second class with 7 other common ailments. I mean, I'm sure there's other things that we could be looking at. Please make sure you check the schedules, because there's new classes coming out every day. And I want to tell you about one of my brand new classes that I'm excited to be teaching. Just grabbing my little day timer here. So tomorrow, no, it's not tomorrow. Saturday, I'm teaching for the very first time my diabetes management and remission class. So if you're worried about diabetes in any way, come to that class. Next week on the, what day is it? On the 25th, Friday, June 25th is a very, very brand new class. If you like to hear about food and nutrition and everything to do with food lifestyles, I have my food trends class, and I talk about what does it mean to be vegan? What is it? What kind of vegetarian are you? What does keto mean? What does light keto mean? I've never heard of flexitarian. What kind of food lifestyle is that? This is the very first class next Thursday, the 25th in the afternoon. I would love you to sign up for that class. It probably will sell out, so go ahead and look ahead a week ahead on that class and get yourself signed up. And I will send out a post email to all of you, so you'll get the feedback form for this class. You can invite friends now to classes, and also you can suggest a class to us by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. But please also send a message if you would like a recording of today. And we just have a minute or two, but does anybody have a burning question, something that I didn't answer, or something you would like a little bit of clarification on? Anybody? You feel
Well,
like
do you do a breakdown? Because I Google a lot of stuff, like different herbs for different other symptoms, like polyps or golden seal teas.
Yes, there are many, many amazing plants out there for specifics. Now, when I studied nutrition, when I did my nutrition program,
Right.
If I can find my book, there's many books out there, but you just need to Google from Amazon. You can, there are natural remedy books that break it down from A to Z,
Okay.
and will tell you this thing is good for that. And I have a book on my shelf. If you're really interested in it, that would be what I would do, is I would either get a digital book or get a little handbook that you can like just go to it and go, what's this good for? Or I'm feeling a little bit of phlegm and cough. What herb? Usually it's a bitter herb that can get rid of the phlegm. So there are lots of things for every single ailment that we have. There is a plant that can help, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions they want to ask? Or Enda, do you have something?
Yes, I was just going to say, when you talked about anxiety, to add something, stay in the moment, practice staying in the moment. Like right now, we're talking to you. There should not have been anything else in my mind except attending this class.
Absolutely. And you know,
but we have to practice it.
Yes, being in the moment, because us worry warts. Now I've gotten way better with my worrying. I used to worry a lot when I was in university. I was worried about everything. I probably got it from my mom, worrying about what could happen, what's going to happen, what might happen. Not being in the moment, but thinking, too far in advance. Well, what if this doesn't work out? And then my husband will say, well, why are you thinking that way? We're here now. Why wouldn't it work out? So being in the moment, excellent advice. I think that's a great comment. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And thank you for coming in live streamed if you're listening in. So I look forward to seeing you all in future classes. And I'm really excited about this whole mission to get healthier together. Do you guys feel that?
Yeah.
I feel excited
that with
all of you, because, like, believe me, I notice I'm noticing brightness, more alertness, slimmer. I can see cheekbones again. Like, I'm noticing the people coming to my classes quite often, even if you come to the same class and hear the same message and maybe you hear something different the second time, we are all getting healthier as a cohort together. And that's what's really, really exciting to me. So take care, everybody, and I will see you in another class.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
All right, bye.